Hello, Breck here, and I want to talk about a comic I came across recently that I read. It's called Knighthawk. Now, this comic is pretty vague, and I had no idea it even existed. I bought some comics from a buyer online, right? Bought like maybe 20 comics, various titles. I'm checking this out. Let me tell you how weird this comic is. Well, not weird so much as how little is known about it. I kept calling it Shadowhawk for a long time because one of the comics that I bought was Shadowhawk meets, I believe, Angel Veen. Okay, cool. No, I'm sorry. Shadowhawk meets the Vampirella. Yes. And then I read Nighthawk. The way the font is done, I thought it was an S or a fancy S. I was an idiot. So I thought it was Shadowhawk for a long time. Until before I started doing this vague review, I realized it's called Nighthawk. It is written and drawn, it was created by Neal Adams. I'm not sure if he drew it, but the comic is a standard, I guess you could say, typical comic in the 1990s. It's a big, buff superhero that kills people and doesn't care, trying to do good, like a Punisher, but flies. And it starts off a little odd, okay? First off, Nighthawk, his entire backstory is explained in boxes while he's flying. There's very little characterization here. He flies to an orphanage and just starts shooting people that come out of the walls. Because the orphanage, turns out, has kids, but that are malnourished. I mean, it doesn't explain how he knows about this or why the head orphanage is doing this, but it's to show, I guess, how he approaches bad guys. But I find it funny that he kills them off, and then he starts bad mouthing the couple who wanted to adopt a child there. They keep saying they had no idea. He's mad because they wanted the perfect kid, but I don't know. I didn't see anything like that. They just said they wanted to adopt a child. Nighthawk started telling them that they wanted a specific kid, and it didn't seem like they were bad kids. I don't know. Anyway, that was first issue. The next few issues is Nighthawk faces against a robot named Nemo, which I thought of Finding Nemo, but no. So it's supposed to be a robot that Nighthawk himself created. Now, Nighthawk's civilian identity is named, I think, Scott Pike or Pike Scott. He's supposed to be as he quoted, a mad scientist, very smart, made this metal man, and then some generals and scientists stole it and used the personality boxes to make Nemo smart and somehow program him to fight for them. I'm not sure how. I'll just explain that they took him and he suddenly works for them. Or my guess is because they're generals. They have the authority above Scott Pike. So he starts destroying weapons left and right. And the general explains that the point is to destroy all nuclear weapons around the planet, so then when the United States has the only country with nuclear weapons, they'll have the most power. So it sounds like that this government wants to make sure U.S. has the most power in the world, but doing it by illegally attacking other countries' weapons, which could start a war. I mean, they'll be starting the weapons, so anyway, the whole point is Nemo's doing this. Shadowhawk's trying to stop him, and this one was kind of weird. Because Nemo is starting to get a personality little by little. Like, he's starting to understand things. Because at first, Nemo tried to destroy the swarm base. And surprisingly, he couldn't do it. They kept shooting missiles, and he was losing, so he had to leave. And they explained because he needed the other personality box, which is about tactic and strategy. And once he used that box, he started fighting Shadowhawk. And okay, this one was interesting because Shadowhawk had to strategize a little bit. It wasn't just fist for fist, shoot for shoot. Well, it was that. Because his answer to Nemo is, Nemo didn't want to fight him, and Shadowhawk said, well, you're going to have to fight me, even though it felt like they could have talked it out. But so, that was interesting. But then, Shadowhawk throws everything at Nemo. Shooting him wouldn't work, trying to divert him into banging into other equipment didn't work, and even having a bomb. What was it? It looked like a torpedo or a giant missile go off on him. Didn't work. It hurt him a lot, but he still got up because he can repair himself. In the end, he was about to kill Knighthawk. Oh my god, I'm calling him Shadowhawk the whole time. He was about to kill Knighthawk, and Knighthawk was able to appeal to his humanity. And Nemo realized he did not want this, so he stopped and told himself that, and Knighthawk, that he didn't want this anymore. So they were able to move on. Nighthawk was able to give Nemo a new identity, and last thing we see is Nemo with a hat saying thank you and then walking away. I mean, it wasn't bad. Instead of a big giant bloodbath, they talked it out. Well, it was because Nighthawk was losing, so he needed Nemo to stop. And the last part was weird. There is a 6-issue miniseries, and the last 2 is Shadowhawk talks to his brother who's flying a plane, and I'm trying to remember this. I think they were captured. Hawk agrees to work for another government guy. His brother disagrees, so his brother's in prison while Nighthawk works for them. And he is the leader of a new team called Theta Force. And it looks like a knockoff of the Avengers. They got their own Hulk, their own Wolverine. It's pretty funny. It's funny because Theta Force appears for only one comic, issue 6. And they start off by he takes his new team to attack some planes that are smuggling drugs. But the one, I guess, drug smuggler pilot is beating the entire Theta Force by flying around over it. Nighthawk uses the distraction to go back to his base, and he uses a tiny computer to... Okay, this one was pretty funny. He beats General Chaos, who's the main baddie, by hacking into the systems and doing something to where the entire government tells General Chaos they don't want him anymore. So he took away his funds. This one regular, I guess, worker walked around, collected all the Theta Force's weapons, and used some sort of phone so they couldn't get to them. He freed his parents, freed his brother, and then you get his entire backstory where Nighthawk is actually a clone of his brother. It's weird. I mean, reading this from the beginning, you could tell that it was supposed to have been a continuous series, but they only stopped at 6 issues, so they had to cram everything at the last moment. Nemo, he got what? Nighthawk got 2 full issues battling Nemo. Okay, but yet he meets the Theta Force and only appear and end in 1 issue. And his brother being clones, and then they had the wings on their back that weren't fully developed, so he had to create technology, and his brother was hurt. It was a mess. It was easily forgettable, but I will say I do like how they resolved the conflict. Forces Nighthawk to be creative when trying to kill doesn't always work. And I can see why this comic didn't last. It was easily forgettable. The art was okay, but at the time I had to squint to make sure I knew what I was looking at. Because if they didn't explain it, I would have been lost. There was a lot more that happened, but it's not important. Nighthawk looks like a guy with a bandana tied around his eyes, so you can't see his identity. He looks buffed, but when he takes off his costume, he looks skinnier for some reason. Could be that suit, makes his muscles look bigger. I don't know, but it was a treat to read. Not bad, but it's something I'll probably forget about in the future. And that's my vague, a little more detailed review about a 6-issue series called Knighthawk. That it was something. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Bye bye.